The first warning came from the Outer Defense Satellite Station beyond Neptune. At 3:17 Universal Time Coordinated, they detected movement, hundreds of objects slipping silently into the solar system's edge. No jump signatures. No weapon charge-ups. No recognizable propulsion trails. Just ships. Massive, broken, drifting ships. Within minutes, every military command center on Earth was awake. The Warborn fleet, humanity's greatest defensive force, entered immediate mobilization. Across orbital dry docks and lunar shipyards, battlecruisers powered online. Railgun arrays locked onto distant targets. Missile platforms aligned. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for this exact moment. First contact. And if necessary, first strike. No one knew who they were. No one knew why they had come. But history had taught humanity a simple lesson: survival belonged to the prepared. Then the transmission arrived. It was weak. Fragmented. Buried beneath static and radiation interference. Engineers spent 7 tense minutes decoding it. When the message finally played across command screens worldwide, it carried no threats. No demands. No declarations of superiority. Only one sentence. Please help us. Silence swept through every command center on Earth. Long-range scans began to tell the rest of the story. The alien vessels were barely functional. Hull fractures ran across entire sections of their fleet. Life support systems flickered at critical levels. Several ships weren't military at all. They were civilian transports, packed far beyond safe capacity. This was not an invasion force. It was an evacuation. Further analysis revealed evidence of catastrophic damage unlike anything humanity had ever recorded. Entire sections of ships looked as if they had simply ceased to exist, erased with impossible precision. Then a second transmission came. This one clearer. Our worlds are gone. Our fleets are gone. It is coming. Humanity's leaders demanded one question answered. Why Earth? Why travel across the void to a young species still new to interstellar power? The alien response chilled every room it entered. Because your Warborn fleet is the only force left in the galaxy that might survive what destroyed us. The alien fleet was held at the edge of human-controlled space, surrounded but not threatened. Communication arrays locked onto their signals, refining translation until meaning became precise instead of approximate. What they revealed erased any illusion of a conventional enemy. The Devourer was not a species. Not an empire. Not even a mind in the way humans understood intelligence. It was a process. Ancient beyond measurement, self-evolving, and driven by a single function: consumption. It moved through the galaxy not along trade routes or strategic corridors, but along gradients of energy. Stars rich with output. Systems dense with life. Civilizations that burned bright. It didn't conquer them. It reduced them. Entire star systems collapsed into silence within hours of contact. Planets stripped of atmosphere. Orbital structures unraveled into particulate energy. Even the stars themselves dimmed, as if something had reached inside and taken what made them burn. The aliens had studied it for generations. They mapped its movements, tracked its patterns, recorded every engagement. They had also fought it. At their peak, their civilization fielded fleets far more advanced than anything humanity possessed, ships that could fold space cleanly, weapons that could destabilize planetary cores, defenses that rendered conventional attacks meaningless. None of it mattered. They lost everything. Because they fought to win. The Devourer could not be defeated through superiority. Every precise strike was anticipated. Every optimized tactic countered. Every perfect formation dismantled. Perfection, they explained, was predictable. And predictable systems break. Human analysts reviewed the data in silence. Again and again, the same conclusion surfaced. No surviving species had ever forced the Devourer to retreat. Only slowed it down. So the question remained. Why come to humanity? The answer was not technological. It was behavioral. Humanity fought differently. The Warborn fleet did not rely on flawless coordination or rigid doctrine. Its ships were designed to function while damaged, its command structures built to operate under disruption, its strategies evolving in real time rather than following fixed models. Where other civilizations engineered stability, humanity engineered survival under failure. To the aliens, this was not inefficiency. It was unpredictability. And unpredictability, for the first time, introduced uncertainty into something that had never encountered it. But the advantage was incomplete. The aliens understood the Devourer's patterns, its cycles of expansion, its rare moments of instability during energy absorption, the brief windows where its structure fluctuated. Windows too small for their own fleets to exploit. They lacked the resilience to survive long enough to act. Humanity had the resilience, but none of the knowledge. Separate, both would fall. Together, there was a possibility, not of victory, but of resistance. Earth's leadership faced the reality without illusion. Engaging meant revealing the full extent of the Warborn fleet. It meant committing resources beyond the defense of Earth. It meant stepping into a conflict where no one had ever won. Isolation offered a different outcome. Fortify the solar system. Prepare for eventual contact. Survive as long as possible. But the alien data made one truth unavoidable. The Devourer did not stop. Delay was not safety. It was a countdown. And sooner or later, the countdown would reach Earth. Debate spread across every level of command. Isolationists argued for containment, fortify Earth, reinforce orbital defenses, preserve what remained of humanity. The logic was simple: survival first, everything else second. Others saw the flaw immediately. If the Devourer reached the solar system, defenses would only delay the inevitable. Waiting alone meant facing it without experience, without allies, and without understanding. The aliens made no demands during the deliberation. They transmitted data, answered questions, and waited. No threats. No pressure. Only one statement repeated when asked what would happen if humanity refused. You will face it eventually. Alone. That was enough. The decision was made, not unanimously, but decisively. Humanity would not wait. The Warborn fleet's mission changed in a single directive: defense of Earth expanded to engagement beyond it. Preparation began immediately. Alien specialists were integrated into human command structures, not as leaders, but as advisors. Their knowledge of the Devourer's movement patterns, energy cycles, and structural behavior was unmatched. Human crews, in turn, began adapting those insights into operational doctrine. The integration was not smooth. Aliens relied on prediction and caution. Their strategies emphasized avoidance, minimal exposure, controlled engagement. Humans did the opposite. They tested limits. They simulated failure. They pushed scenarios past breaking points to see what survived. To alien observers, it looked reckless. To human commanders, it was necessary. Conflicts surfaced quickly. Alien advisors rejected plans that accepted heavy losses. Human officers rejected plans that required perfect execution. Neither approach worked alone. Progress came when both sides stopped trying to correct each other and started combining strengths. Alien foresight identified the Devourer's approach vectors and timing cycles. Human adaptability reshaped fleet formations on the fly, abandoning fixed structures in favor of fluid response groups. Ships were reassigned based on endurance, not class. Damaged vessels were not removed from simulations, they were pushed deeper into them. The result was inefficient on paper and effective in practice. For the first time, the aliens observed something unfamiliar in their projections. Uncertainty. Not in the Devourer. In the outcome. When the joint fleet was finally assembled, it did not resemble any standard formation. It was layered, irregular, built around redundancy rather than precision. Hundreds of warships, human-built, reinforced, and reconfigured, formed a structure designed not to remain intact, but to keep functioning while breaking. Every ship carried fragments of alien data translated into executable response systems. Every commander had access to predictive models that updated in real time. They would not outmatch the Devourer. They would outlast its expectations. The launch was not ceremonial. No broadcasts. No declarations. The fleet moved as one, leaving Earth's orbit behind and accelerating toward a system already marked for consumption, a star nearing peak output, exactly the kind of target the Devourer favored. Distance closed over days. Then hours. Then minutes. Long-range sensors confirmed it before visual systems could. Energy distortions ahead. Light bending inward. The Devourer had already arrived. The fleet did not slow. For the first time in recorded history, something was moving toward it on purpose. The Devourer did not announce itself. It simply became present. Space ahead of the fleet lost definition first. Stars dimmed as if their brightness was being drained through unseen channels. Then distortion spread outward in slow waves, like reality losing structural integrity. Every sensor confirmed the same impossible reading: energy was vanishing without trace. The Warborn fleet entered engagement range without ceremony. Initial weapons fire began as coordinated volleys, kinetic strikes, energy bursts, layered electromagnetic disruption. Nothing reached a visible target. Each impact dissolved mid-transit, erased before contact could occur. For several seconds, no one spoke. Then the Devourer reacted. The distortion tightened. Entire sections of space folded inward, and ships at the edge of formation disappeared instantly. Not destroyed, not exploded, but simply reduced to absence. Human formations broke instinctively, then corrected. This was expected. The alien data had warned them: conventional engagement was meaningless. The only window of vulnerability occurred during absorption cycles, brief instants when the Devourer stabilized energy intake before redistribution. Those windows were nearly impossible to catch. But humans did not need certainty. They needed repetition. The fleet adapted in real time. Ships rotated positions constantly, never holding formation long enough to be fully analyzed. Damaged vessels moved forward instead of retreating, forcing the Devourer to divide attention across unstable targets. The strategy was not efficient. It was disruptive. The Devourer shifted response patterns. Its absorption rate increased. More ships vanished. Entire clusters were erased as if they had never existed. Losses escalated quickly. Alien command systems registered probability collapse across multiple engagement models. Survival margins dropped below theoretical thresholds. Yet the fleet continued. Human commanders did not attempt to preserve structure. They allowed it to fracture intentionally. Each break created unpredictability, and each unpredictability forced the Devourer to recalibrate. Then the first anomaly appeared. A micro-instability. Detected by alien predictive arrays and confirmed by human observation systems simultaneously. A fluctuation in energy intake lasting less than a fraction of a second. Too brief for any known species to exploit. But not too brief for repetition. The fleet adjusted instantly. Ships were no longer coordinated in rigid sequences. They acted in staggered, overlapping intervals, forcing the Devourer to process multiple disruptions at once. Attention became the weapon. Not force. The Devourer responded violently. Its distortion field expanded, attempting to reset spatial equilibrium. Entire groups of ships were pulled into collapse zones and erased. But for the first time, it was not seamless. Gaps formed. Small, unstable gaps. Human vessels exploited them without hesitation. Not with precision strikes, but with sustained pressure, continuous engagement designed to maintain instability rather than deliver decisive damage. The Devourer began to hesitate. Not consciously. Mechanically. Its cycles slowed as conflicting inputs accumulated faster than they could be resolved. The alien observers recorded something unprecedented. The system was failing to predict outcome variance. And then came the turning point. A heavily damaged human vessel, structurally compromised and nearly out of power, maintained position longer than calculated survival time. Instead of retreating, it held. That delay was enough. The instability window reopened. Wider this time. The fleet converged, not as a perfect formation, but as a cascade of timing errors synchronized into function. Every remaining weapon system fired at once. The impact did not destroy the Devourer. It interrupted it. Space fractured along its structure. The absorption field collapsed in segments. Energy flow reversed unevenly. The Devourer recoiled for the first time. Not away from force, but away from contradiction. Then, without warning, it disengaged. The distortion folded inward and collapsed into a shrinking void, retreating faster than any human propulsion could track. Within moments it was gone. No victory signal followed. No celebration orders were issued. Only silence remained. The battlefield was empty, except for drifting wreckage and fading energy traces. The Warborn fleet had not defeated the Devourer, but it had forced something that had never yielded before to stop advancing. And for the alien survivors watching, that difference was everything.